so what I'm going to do, I'm going to put my hominy corn in this colander sitting inside of a bowl. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to pick through, stop that, make sure everything is right. And there's a yellow one, there's a yellow corn. It's not a problem, but just going to throw it off to the side, looking for anything. There we go. It looks good. Get a lot of powder out of it. What I'm going to do, we're going to rinse this off. We're going to do this a couple times to get rid of all that extra starch. Alright, so I got it rinsed out pretty good. What we're going to do now, I'm just going to put this in our bowl. I'm going to cover it with water. In fact, I want my bowl just about full. And we're going to let this set overnight. Alright, so now it's the next day. Now you can do this step ahead of time as well, just that I was being lazy yesterday. Anyway, I have 4 pounds of pork feet that have been cut up into pieces. Now, if you don't want to use pork, I recommend you use chicken. I don't really like beef bones in my pozole. I like it in my menudo, but not my pozole. So anyway, I've got 4 pounds of pig feet that have been cut up, and because they have been cut up, when I washed them, I made sure to rub the bone where it's been cut with a saw to make sure there's no bone fragments in there. What I'm going to do, when I bought my pork meat, I also had some bones from that. So I'm going to throw that in there. That's just a little bit of extra flavor. Put this in here. Cover this with water. And I'm going to bring it up to a boil for probably about 15, 20, maybe 30 minutes to get some of the gunk off. So essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to blanch these bones. I'll be back with you and show you that here in just a minute. Alright, sorry about the bad light. I need to get some more lights here. Anyway, we're going to take this and dump it off. What I have to do is I have to wash the bones and the pot. Now we didn't cook that very long, so all the good stuff is really still in the meat. All that we've done is taken off the gunk that's on the outside. Anyway, I'm going to wash this all up and I'll be back with you. And this is what the bones look like after a nice cleaning. That's a lot better. They'll make a nice clean stock, and for pozole or menudo or anything like that, you really got to have a good stock, because the stock is what brings it all together. Alright, so now our bones are in the pot. They're all clean. They're looking good. I've already got the heat on. I'm going to cover them up real good with some water. We're going to throw in half an onion, 2 bay leaves, some garlic cloves. I happen to be using 7, but really how many to put in there is up to you. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put some water in there, because we're going to do a nice long cook on this. I'm going to bring it up to a slow boil. Now, not a simmer. I actually want it boiling because I want to pull all the stuff out of the bones. Anyway, I'll be back with you in a little bit. Alright, now I've got this pulled up to the front burner so I can show you what I'm doing. Occasionally I come by any foam and fat. I want to keep skimming that off, because that'll help keep the broth nice, and that's what I'm looking for. This has been cooking for, I don't know, about 30 minutes, and it's going to take about, I want to cook this for at least 4 hours. You can definitely go longer. Just keep an eye on it. If the water level starts to go down, add some more water. If you start to build up fat or scum, scrape that off. Now, if you have to run out, go to the store or anything like that, if you're going to leave and not be paying attention to it, turn off the burner. Alright, so I got my hominy here. I've dumped it in the pot. Notice it's swelled up a little bit. We're going to give it a rinse. Look through it one last time. Make sure there's nothing in there we want to take out. And we're going to put this in our pan. Alright, so now we're going to take some of this stock from our bones. We're going to cover this hominy really good. And we're going to bring this up to a boil, and we're going to cook it for about 2 hours until it's tender. Alright, I got my hominy covered, got the burner on, it's heating up. Of course, my water level dropped it pretty much in my pot. Go ahead, I'm going to fill this pot up one more time, and then I'm going to let it cook down. Alright, so let's take care of our chilies. Now I've got some 7 Guajillo chilies. Now the ratio and how many chilies you use is really going to be up to you. I'm just going to give you a guideline of what I'm using today, and then you can look at how my color looks. I can tell you, you can kind of gauge spiciness and decide what you want to do. Traditionally, from all the recipes I see, this is primarily the only chili that gets used. Now, of course, everybody uses it a little different, but this is the primary chili. A lot of recipes only use this chili, but I think it's a little bit too spicy if you use just those to get the color I like. So I'm using some California chilies. I got 2 of those. Then I'm using a Pasilla chili because I like the flavor of it. It's a real dark, earthy flavor. It's not traditionally used in pozole, but I like it, so that's what I'm using. Anyway, what we got to do, I'm going to take some scissors and cut the stems off. I'm going to dump out most of the seeds, not all of them. Then we're going to open these things up. Come on. Of course, when I go to film this, it doesn't work very good, right? Open this thing up. There we go, I got you now. Now these membranes, we want to pull those out. So we want to, because they're kind of bitter. And then we're just going to take our scissors, kind of cut that up into big pieces. No, don't worry about being exact because we're going to blend this all together here later. Anyway, I'm going to finish seeding these and deveining these and getting them in the pot. I'll be back with you here in a little bit. Alright, so I got all my chilies cut up. Now these things, I consider them dirty because usually they are dirty. They've been dried in the air. They get dirt on them. Give them a good rinse. Put them in the pan. Cover them in water. And then we're going to boil these for a few minutes to soften them up. Alright, my hominy is starting to swell up pretty good. It's soaked up a bunch of water, and my water level on this pot's going down pretty low. Anyway, I need to get this out of here anyway, so I'm going to set that to the side. I'm going to put my chilies on there, and I just want to bring it, as soon as that goes to a boil, I'm going to turn it off and let it set for a little while. Now we're going to continue putting some of this liquid from in here in with our hominy. But fairly soon I'm going to dump the rest of it in because I need these bones to cool down. Anyway, I'll be back with you. Alright, so now my stock pot here, I've taken out most of the bones, and that way I can keep getting in my stock. The bones, all the meat, what little bit of meat and everything's in them just kind of falling apart. Probably has no flavor left in it. It's probably already released all the flavor into the stock. So I'm not going to use any more of that. Now, I've got my chilies, they're softened up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to dump them out. Some people use the soaking water in the next step. I don't like to do that because I think sometimes you get some off flavors from that. Anyway, I'll be back in just a second. Alright, since I'm getting to the bottom of my pot, I'm getting hunks of fat and stuff out of here. Anyway, I'm going to take a little bit of this stock. I don't need too much of it. Put that in here. I'm going to put a little bit of salt in here. And I'm going to blend this up. There we go. Okay, so we're getting fairly close to being done. I need to throw my pork, cubed up pork in here. I have about 1.5 pounds of pork. It's been cubed up. I've cut off most of the excessively fat pieces. There's still some fat left because I mean this comes off of a picnic or front shoulder or whatever. then I trim it. I take off the skin. You know, the bones have already been thrown into the stock pot. You can add more meat or less, or just leave the meat out, whichever. You know, I mean, it's got a lot of pork flavor anyway. All right, so now we're gonna need to put our spice mixture. Oh, I almost forgot. I want to add half a tablespoon of salt. Now we're gonna have to readjust salt later. Now this is plain old table salt. If you're using sea salt, I know I'd have to add more, but I'm just gonna start the salting process. All right, so I want to strain this chili mixture, because any seeds or stems or anything like that that's still left in here, anything that won't go through, I don't want. We're going to strain it through here. Alright, my strainer's starting to plug up, but what I'm going to have to do is I want to clean it out, but I'm going to run some of this stock through here to get some of this color off of this stuff I'm getting rid of, because all the fiber and stuff that's in there, I don't want that in there. It leaves funny flavors. I want all the good that I can get out of it. Two things left to do to the pot. One last skimming of fat. Got a bunch of fat running around the edges. That's okay. We'll get most of that out of there. We don't want all of it out. And then we're going to need to add some more salt. I'm going to put about another half a tablespoon in there, or a little bit more. And we're going to stir this up. I'm going to turn the heat down, and I'm going to get everything ready for serving. So the accompaniments that we're going to be serving with this is lettuce. I've got some romaine lettuce that I've finely shredded, some cabbage that I've finely shredded, some limes, some red onion, some dried Mexican oregano. Now radishes are commonly served with this. They're sliced or diced. I don't like them that way, but I like them on the microplane grater. You grate them, and I like them that way. Anyway, I'll be back. All right, so let's serve this up. That looks good. Now, everybody has different ways of assembling it. Excuse me. I don't really like the oregano, the dried oregano. It seems like it stays dry. But anyway, you can use that if you want to. I'm not going to object to it. Put some cabbage, some lettuce, a little more lettuce. There we go. Put some red onion. We're going to squeeze some lime in here. I'm going to take some of our radish. I like lots of the radish. Man, that looks good. So, how's this taste? It's hot, I know that. Burned me through the bowl. How's it taste? I'm going to mix this up. Now, I diced my pork up pretty small. A lot of the taquerias and such, they leave the pork in pretty big chunks. You know, size of the pork is really up to you. Want some pork in mine. Man, I need to open a taqueria.